that's so intensely annoying. I don't know, Piers, whether we're streaming or not, actually, now. I'm just trying to work it out.
Hold on, let me... On what?
On anything. Yeah, actually.
What do you want me to look at? I've got my phone right here, I can check.
Oh, no, I think we are. We're on... It looks like we're on...
Can't you
YouTube
ask anybody who might be watching if they can hear and see us?
Hold on. Oh, blimey. Everything is tits up. Do you know what I mean? It's all gone tits up. I don't know what's going on with the music. I don't know why that music is playing. No idea why that music is playing. It shouldn't be playing. Hold on. Oh, goodness sake. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, right. Let's try that. No, I don't want that. I don't want that music. I don't want that music. Oh, hold on. Oh, blimey. Right. Okay, good. That's better. Okay. Look, I do apologise. I think we're streaming now. I think we are. But everything is slow because, you know, I don't know, it takes a while. You get latency and stuff like that. Apparently, we are... Let me just see if I can clear the YouTube cache on dailychaos.news, and then hopefully it'll stream there. I think we're streaming on YouTube. And I can see Maggie, Truth Seeker, Downliner, Sammy, Ellen. Hello. And I on Facebook. Oh, blimey.
I think you're going out on Facebook.
Are we? Well, what? Why did it not stop streaming on Facebook? Very odd.
Jay Carey just posted saying he's listening. So
right. Well, that's a start, isn't it? So it seems to be going out everywhere except on the show's actual page. Oh no, we're going out there too. Right, brilliant. Okay, coming up in 1 minute, just so that I can recover and mop my brow. Oh, thank goodness for that. Look, oh, good.
When am I going to?
So we've just.
When am I going to see a live version of you?
Okay. I don't know, mate. You can't have everything, can you? As long as they can hear it or something. Yeah, I suppose that's a start. Hold on. Where's? I need to sort the audio out now. Oh, there we go. That's it. Right. Is that it? Can we have a bit of music? Bit of that. 1 minute. Just while I sort my head out. Drink some wine and a whiskey. Let's all go now. Right. I think we're more or less there. I think we're there. Oh, blimey. So excited. I bet you're all excited. Take 4, 5, 6. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good people. And welcome to the Daily Chaos. The show ain't daily, but the chaos is. Welcome to my world. Auto Ab Roddy KO. Yeah, indeed. Democratic strategy for the 4th of November, the day after the election. I think that's the official strategy, isn't it? Betting on Biden. Woody show tonight. Yeah, we got old Piers here and Boosey as well. He, him, and his. It says he can't make his mind up on his pronoun. And old Tim, I think, is going to pop in at some stage as well. Have a chat from Portland. Right, that's enough of that. Okay, let's get into this. I do apologise, people. Yeah, I haven't done a show for a while because, I don't know. I just haven't. And so I forgot to plug the Ethernet in. And so I was trying to shove everything up through the Wi-Fi, which is rather difficult and quite painful. Just ask Biden. He likes that sort of stuff. I understand. I don't know whether he's gone for a suppository tonight just to keep himself awake or something. But I do know that Trump asked for there to be drug tests for the two presidential candidates for the debate tonight because he wanted to know whether or not Biden was going to be on crack or something. Boosey, can you hear me? Is Biden on crack?
I don't know if he's on crack, but I think they must be giving him something because most of the time he just seems completely out of it, and he's doing lids.
He's doing what?
One of those is when they just get the. They basically say a lid is he's not going to do any more public appearances or any more interviews or anything, and he's calling those at 8:30 in the morning, Washington time.
So hold on a sec. Let me get this right.
Like, what the hell are you going to be doing?
He wakes up. He has a fiddle. He just realises he hasn't got his morning glory, and then he calls his campaign manager and says, "Put a lid on it. I can't do anything today. I haven't got it."
Yeah, is that it? He's doing maybe 15 minutes of actual public stuff, tops a day.
15 minutes of what? Autocue of reading a script from the camera and stuff. Yeah. And Trump, on the other hand,
his wife is doing.
Oh, Jill! Of course. She's now. Hold on a sec, because he keeps saying,
she's doing more stuff
Joe.
Than he is.
She is, isn't she? She's doing all the stuff. He keeps saying that he's Joe Biden's husband, doesn't he? So maybe he thinks that she's running for president.
He doesn't know what day of the week it is.
Eh? Doesn't know what day of the week it is. Trump, on the other hand, he seems to be doing quite a bit. He seems quite busy. He's running the country for a start, and he's doing lots of events and getting Nobel Peace Prize nominations. That must take up a lot of time. He's got 3 of them in 3 weeks. So he's been quite busy. Do you think the American people see the disparity of energy between these two candidates?
Honestly, I think that they do. The media won't ever let it be known that they do, but I'm seeing, and I'm speaking to people, I'm seeing active targeting of California by the Democrats. You can't go a minute without a Democrat broadcast. They did not do this last time.
What do you mean? What more ads?
So you know how we get the party political ads.
Yeah.
They
they're doing lots of them.
Bother really putting them on. They didn't bother putting them in 2016 too much on the things like Californian local networks. They only seemed to do it on the national stuff. They weren't really worried about too much about pushing for the vote in California.
Right. Okay,
now it's incessant, which says to me that they're scared they're not going to keep California. If they can't keep California, they can't win the election, because this state's gone very blue. Now, if places like California and New York flip,
Yeah.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hold on. The last president that won, like, swept the board, near as Dammit, I think was Ronnie Reagan. And he took, 48 states?
Yeah, he did a 49. He was a 49 state.
40. Oh, because California, he was the governor of California, wasn't he? So he took that too.
Yeah.
New York. But New York, though, actually, is more likely to go red, is it not, than California? Because everybody's left. There's nobody there. There's only a few people there. They've all gone to Florida.
But the thing is, what you've got to look at is who's staying, and are we targeting the underprivileged? Is the message getting through to the underprivileged that the Democrats don't give a flying fuck about them? Is that message getting through to them because those are the ones who haven't left New York because they can't afford to flee?
I mean,
what I think is funny is your ex-boss, Ollie, Mike Bloomberg, has paid off all the debts owed by something like 35,000 inmates in prisons in Florida in order to give them the right to vote. And he's hoping that by paying off their debts, they're all going to vote Democrat. I bet they don't. I bet they all vote for Trump and stick, a massive FU up at Mike Bloomberg. But he's, there's a criminal investigation going on in relation to that, or
it's illegal
because
apparently that's illegal, Piers.
Clear bribe, yeah. I think Florida may even turn blue.
Florida.
I think there could be a complete whitewash across the board.
Florida is blue. I think Trump won Florida.
Florida it is
did
blue.
Won by a wafer.
I mean, sorry, red. I'm getting my colours mixed up.
No. Sorry,
red,
I meant red. No, Florida. Trump won Florida in 2016 by a wafer, wafer thin mint. But
well, he'll win it. He'll win it again. I mean, the governor there has just opened all the bars and the clubs and has sort of put an end to this ridiculous lockdown. So it's clear where his where his loyalties and motivations lie.
Well, that is a Republican governor, isn't it?
I mean,
in Florida.
Yeah, well,
and
he is.
Florida
but
is
I mean, he's at the moment. He's on suit with it all. He's acting in a way that demonstrates the fact that the COVID statistics are being horrifically manipulated, and it's all a political thing, and it's got nothing to do with the the potency of COVID-19. I mean, I don't know what. There's definitely an agenda going on, especially in the UK right now. They seem to be trying to ramp up COVID again, suggesting that it's doubling every week or so in terms of infection rates. And I mean, there's no evidence of that in hospitals. The numbers of the cases of people in hospital are dropping every day.
That's because
they seem to be creating the fear for some other purpose other than COVID. I don't know what that is.
But I mean, the bottom line there, guess what? If you test more, you're going to find more cases. Yeah. I mean, Trump has said that. We just need lockdown. You know what? You know what my theory is, Piers? This is all about postal ballots. It's a globalist conspiracy against the United States perpetrated by intra-nationalists, people that don't give a stuff about nation states, whether it's the US, the UK, France, wherever it is. Doesn't matter. They don't care. They want their globalist New World Order, UN, China model led, and that's what they're going hell-bent. And so, for example, Obama, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, he had nation-state, not just the states, but nation-state leaders, 17 different leaders apparently popped around his gaff for a summit to have a chat about what do they do if Trump wins and how do they get him out. I mean, there is a conspiracy going on to dislodge this. Now, it seems to me, Piers, you tell me, but when Trump wins, but if they can pretend he doesn't win, even if he And Clinton said, Hillary Clinton went on video, how brazen, and said, under no circumstances, Joe Biden, are you to concede the election. He still thinks he's running for the Senate. But under no circumstances are you to concede this election. And so they are then going to lawyer up and all the rest of it. And right, Soros has paid for all the riot, blah, blah. They've already told him. They've got a plan. When you vote for the second time, because you vote in your postals and then all your dead relatives and all the rest of it, go around the mortuaries and do a cross with their, blue toe or whatever. And then when you actually vote again on election day, stay on the streets. Because that's when we're going to be protesting, rioting, have lots of libtards going, all of that stuff until they can get Trump to, say, actually, I only won by a landslide, by about 43 states to 7, or Biden won American Samoa something, like Bloomberg did.
Ollie, I honestly don't. I think they're going to.
That,
I think the.
Go on. I get excited. I
think the Republicans are. I think that there's going to be a considerable amount of evidence produced prior to the presidential election that will give Trump the result he wants. Unquestionably. I mean, there's already a whole load of evidence coming forward. The fact, I honestly don't think Joe Biden's going to turn up today. I think he's going to come up with some excuse at the last minute, and he won't show. If what Chris has been saying is true, about his complete inability to do a day's work and putting a lid on everything early in the morning, getting his wife to speak for him. I mean that, and this is with earpieces and auto cues, and he still can't even read the auto cue properly.
No.
I mean, what did he say? So, when I was elected 100 million years ago or something, I can't remember what he said, but he keeps making the biggest gaffes.
When I was
he
on
clearly
Noah's
is
Ark,
suffering mentally from something. It probably is some sort of, early on, onset of Alzheimer's, some sort of degenerative problem. Why they're keeping him on the ballot,
it's sad.
I don't really
tragic.
understand.
We shouldn't be laughing. But on the other hand, this guy is running to be the leader of the Western world. And so, you know what? I don't actually have any sympathy because the rest of the world is more important than one man's ego. Bugger you, Biden. If you got don't vote dementia. That's what I say. I just wonder.
Ollie,
if you remember.
It's not his decision to run. I mean, he's being, he's a puppet. Trump was asked to run and chose to do it. Biden has been asked to run by the Democrats because he's, very deep in all the corruption, and they want somebody who has the full picture.
He wanted to
power.
He wanted to.
I mean,
it's not his first run.
If he got into if he got into power, Kamala Harris would take. He'd have to step down almost instantaneously. The guy clearly has. I honestly cannot see how this debate is going to take place this afternoon. Trump will be loaded with. He'll badger him. He'll fluster him, and he won't be able to string a sentence together. It's just I can't see how it's going to go ahead. I honestly put money on him coming up with some lame excuse at the last minute, and it won't go ahead.
Chris, what are your thoughts on
my
that?
opinion is it may even be that Joe Biden's team announcing at the 11th hour that he cannot do it because he's tested positive for COVID.
Yeah, what better excuse?
Yeah, and I would, I almost want to put money on it, on that kind of thing, because it just seems so likely. But this is the thing.
Trump will rip him a new arsehole if he goes on air with him. He'll start saying, "You've got an earpiece in. You're on drugs. You wouldn't take a drug test. You've got an. I can clearly see your earpiece." He's going to rip him a new arsehole. I mean,
if he goes down there, he might find
where he is. If
he goes down there,
it's not going to happen.
If he goes down there and tries to rip him a new arsehole, he might find Hillary Clinton feeding him questions. Just a thought. Chris.
Well,
sorry.
This is the thing. If you look at it, if you go into debate against people, there are certain people you need to be really well prepared against. Like when you historically went on the BBC, you could not go against Andrew Neil without having prepared, because if you did, it would be obvious and he would just destroy you. You never debated historically with Nigel Farage on the TV without preparing, because he would destroy you. There are certain people like that. Trump is another one where if you don't prepare, he is going to make you look like a prize idiot. And that's the thing. If you haven't got the mental faculties to prepare, i.e. Biden, you're going to look like a prize. That's why we've got the debates of actually with favourable people for Biden. Like the guy from Fox absolutely
Who is this guy?
hates
Warren
Trump.
or something?
So it's going to be 2 against 1.
Who is this bloke? The NBC? Because NBC is basically like CNN light, isn't it, in terms of their partisan bias? They're just less honest about it. But this moderator tonight, the bloke asking the questions, what is his name and what are your thoughts on him, Chris?
1 second, I'm just checking because I thought it was the Fox debate. It might be shown on.
Oh no! It's
a
Fox
debate.
I apologise. It is Fox. We're a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I forget his name. I'm looking it up.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's just another pretend journalist.
You
anyway.
just give me 5 seconds.
I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, being that you're both British, Chris is in California, yeah, and he's got guns, and he's a vicar, and all the rest of it. So he's well on the way to being an American, yeah. But he is originally a Brit, and I wanted to ask you both if you remember the spitting image sketch, "The President Brains is Missing," which was a sketch about Ronald Reagan, where his brain basically dislodges from his, because Ronnie Reagan, bless him. I mean, he had out. But the thing is that Ronnie Reagan was brilliant, yeah. He was awesome. But Biden, can you imagine Biden? I mean, he would at least. I mean, it would be a nightmare. I mean, we'd live in a Marxist, bloody nightmare situation. But I mean, it would be quite comedic, would it not? No.
What?
No.
Yeah.
No, it probably wouldn't. I was just thinking about
I remember that
involved in a Biden presidency.
They used to keep Ronald Reagan's brain in a glass next to his bed, like old people used to keep their false teeth in a glass next to their bed. Right. They used to keep his brain in there, and they'd wake him up in the morning, open up his head, and pop his brain back in. Just pop the little sucker back in there. That was the sketch about Ronnie Reagan's brain. Because by the end of his term, his stay as president, he was suffering from dementia as well.
Yeah, no, I mean he was. Yeah, don't get me wrong. No disrespect to Ronnie Reagan, yeah, but the skit, "The President's Brain is Missing" on Spitting Image was hilarious. It was good satire. I just want to say hi to Amanda Thompson, Maggie Murray, Paul Perrin. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Tinfoil Hat. Somebody accused me earlier about the whole coronavirus business. He said, enjoy the tinfoil hat, when I pointed out that it was a lot of old cock for 0.0002%. How is that a pandemic? And he said, enjoy the tinfoil hat. I said, well, enjoy the mask. I mean, who would have thought? Everybody's wearing tinfoil hats around their chin these days. Diane Seal, Maggie Murray, and so on. Lauren Page. Hey, folks. Good to see you. Right. So.
Okay. The moderator for tonight's debate is Chris Wallace.
Who
is a
moron.
He's a Democrat. No, but he's a Democrat operative that works for Fox.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Fox is no longer. Apart from that, what's his name? Brilliant bloke. Does these pieces to camera.
Sean Hannity. Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity.
Yeah, Hannity's good, but
Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity are both proper people.
They're awesome. But basically, Fox, as I understand it, even Fox now is pro-Democrat, pro-globalist, pro-China, essentially. There is no network at all that I can make out in the United States that is just not biased, just balanced. None of them, let alone pro-Trump. None of them are even balanced. No, they're all desperate to sell the country off to China. Is that right, Chris?
Exactly. And I saw a hilarious meme about Biden going to try and use a teleprompter in the debate and going, "That bastard Trump has changed it to Chinese," and then changing the language because Biden's so bad to China.
That would be funny.
Then Trump, then Trump, as part of the meme, Trump then goes, well, we talked about that you deal with China. I thought you were fluent. And I thought it was quite a funny little.
Do you think that Hunter is fluent? Because he seems to be going off. Apparently, he was going off to China on Air Force One when his dad was VP.
Yes.
He was popping over there and getting $1.5 billion investments for his business. And then he was getting off to Moscow and getting a $3.5 million bung from the wife of the ex-mayor who was sacked for corruption, apparently. And then he went off to Ukraine on the way back home to pick up another 600 grand a year or something for sitting on the board of some dodgy energy company. I mean, what is that family? And why is there nothing, absolutely nothing in the news about that? And yet then the New York Times is all, Trump had a good accountant. That was the Times' news story. Didn't say anything about Biden. I mean, where's the balance? Where is the journalism? They are. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Chris. Please, don't be partisan. Don't be partisan. Where is the balance? Why is the American media just so happy with, you know what? Let's just bring in this crony family that looks like the Clinton Foundation personified and get them into the White House?
The reason is you have to look at who owns the networks, and you have to look at who works on the networks. The networks are owned by people who have been found on flight logs going to places like Epstein's Island and going on Epstein's plane. You've got people working for these news organizations whose partners or children or parents worked for, like, the Clinton administration or the Bush administration or the Obama administration. So it's the media and politics is so incestuous.
Yes.
That they're going to be. They're not. If it comes out how corrupt the political class is, then the splashback is going to be against the media. Because they're implicated. They're up to their necks in the excrement of the political class.
Do enough Americans.
So they don't want it. They don't want Trump to do what we want Trump to do, that is to drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp and sack the media.
The media is part of that swamp.
Yeah. Do enough Americans understand this?
And the interesting bit about Hunter is that he was paid. It actually has come out. He was paid $50,000 a month for a non-attendance job in the Ukraine. So he never actually set foot into the offices of Burisma, yet got paid $50,000 a month.
There
He's
is a
also
reason
now been linked
why.
with a corrupt Azerbaijani oil company. He's been linked with Chinese companies. It's that sort of stuff is coming out, which is why they're now trying to run the tax returns. But the little thing that is not being talked about the $750 of federal tax. Okay, in real estate, you're working in very you're investing, and then you're not your profit margin because you're reinvesting to keep the money going. So you're just moving the money from into out all the time. However, there is he was obviously making more than his 750 in federal funding. However, Democrats passed legislation that allowed that if you lived in high tax areas for like the state tax, which both New York and California are those areas where they have really high state taxes, you can offset the amount of tax you pay. So you pay less federal tax because you're paying over the odds in state tax. So they work out, okay, you're paying X amount of tax, just the federal share is a lot smaller than the state share because the state's is basically raping you for money. So he was registered in New York, which has these high state taxes. So it was his federal share was going to be really, really tiny because New York was raping him for taxes. But they're not talking about that.
Okay, let's take a couple of points. Tinfoil hat. Did you listen to Michael Flynn's defence with ending remarks? He said they far down the rabbit hole and other side of the looking glass. Oh, his defence is female. Paul, but didn't see that. Hold on a sec. She said, She said they're far down the rabbit hole,
which is cute. Yeah.
Rabbit hole. So that's like a bit of a, they're all on adrenochrome. Do you reckon that he's had a shot of adrenochrome up his bum tonight? Old Joe. Okay, all right, we won't go there. And other side, well, we could do.
It's about the only thing that'll fix him.
Oh, unbelievable, isn't it? Paul Perrin, if Reagan had dementia, it just goes to show how you don't have to be clever to be good. You just need to be sincere. The rest is in your DNA. Reagan was there sufficiently to get that wall down, wasn't he, in Berlin? No question about that. And when he was dealing with Gorbachev and all that. Lorraine Page says, that's what masks are for. Running to keep the sweat off my head. Lots of laughs, like a tennis thing. Carl Millench. Hey, Carl. Hello, mate. God bless you. Says, what is Biden offering? What Trump has not done already. A war. And so Trump gets a Nobel, his third this week, because he hasn't started a war. And some bloke, top lawyer type character in Australia reckoned quite correctly, whoa, that is service to his people, which is what a leader should do, not putting his people, his young men and his young women in harm's way by sending them off to some dodgy, illegal war. So he's been nominated for another whatnot for that. Wookie Puck says, course not, they're out to disparage him, Trump, as much as possible before the election. Thankfully, there's a lot of people who've been educated since 2016 and understand what's happening. Apparently, Paul Perrin says, Ollie, you are the balance. This is how low we have come. Lots of laughs. God bless you. Right. Piers.
Yeah.
I'm sure that presidential elections weren't quite like this when I was a kid. Yeah, I'm 50 years old now. 51, something like that. I can't remember. And that's a bit of a Biden moment. I'm sure they weren't like this. Was it just that there was more lies and deceit? What I find incredible, I don't think the corruption is particularly any different. It just seems to me they are so brazen now.
Yeah, well, their plans are being thwarted. I mean, this has been a long time in the making. This globalist plan. They knew they weren't going to be able to change the world overnight. They knew they were going to have to make it implemented over decades, and they're in the sort of final stages. And people have woken up en masse to the fact that they're being played, and that's the reason why Donald Trump got in 2016. As an independent, essentially an independent, out of the remit of control of deep state. And they're in a flat panic about it now. And that's why they've gone, that's why they're so much more vicious. I mean, there is a reason why the Trump, administration are delaying releasing a lot of the evidence that they have, is because it's all about how much they believe the general populace will actually be able to take on board and believe. So one of the reasons why they're allowing the Democrats to run riot is because it shows them up for what they are.
Do you think so?
They're hoisting themselves by their own petard. They're tying a noose around their own necks, and while they're doing that, there's no point in stepping in with lots of evidence. Until it's blatantly obvious to everybody that the Democrats are corrupt beyond all reason. Then you hit the general public with the evidence you've got, and that's when they will believe you. If you do it too early, people will go, no, sorry, I don't buy it. Trump could pull JFK Jr. out of the closet, and say, here he is back from the dead. And he could, come up with all kinds of plausible evidence to suggest he was who he says he was, and they still wouldn't believe it. You've got to condition people's minds en masse to such a degree where they're awake enough to start. That's when you start hitting them with the hard detail. If you don't condition them properly first, they'll instantly reject it. And this is the problem they've been facing for months and months. You've got to condition the public to accept what you're about to present them with. And that's where we're at now. I think, there are nice little tidbits appearing now. We've got this new letter showing that Hillary and Obama basically cooked up the whole escapade against Trump in 2016. It was exposed shortly after Seth Rich was murdered. He was murdered on the 10th.
Oh, Seth Rich.
He was murdered on the 10th of July.
Seth Rich.
And on the 20th, this is I can read you the letter that's just been posted on QAnon if you like.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, it's all.
What is that? Is that a new Q post?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new Q post, and it's basically from Lindsey Graham,
right? Senator Lindsey
Chairman
Graham,
Committee of the Judiciary, United States Senate, to Chairman Graham, in response to your request for intelligence community information related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation Crossfire Hurricane investigation, I have declassified the following. In late July 2016, the U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis, alleging that the U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians, hacking the Democratic National Committee. The IC does not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which the Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. According to his handwritten notes from Central Intelligence Agency Director Brennan, subsequently briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approved by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal for one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. On the 7th of September 2016, U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director James Comey and Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok regarding the U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning the U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as means of distracting the public from her use of private mail server. So this is signed by John Radcliffe, who is from the Director of National Intelligence, Washington, D.C.
So basically, they're admitting.
They're beginning to.
They're admitting.
So this came was to the Honourable Lindsey Graham, Chairman, to dear Graham, and it's signed by John Radcliffe. Who's John Radcliffe? That's the. Is he the Director of National Intelligence in Washington?
Who is or was John Radcliffe?
It says at the bottom of the letter, as reference in his 24th September 2020 letter to your committee, Attorney General Barr has advised that the disclosure of this information will not interfere with the ongoing Department of Justice investigations. Additional declassification and public disclosure of related intelligence remains under consideration. However, the IC welcome the opportunity to provide a classified briefing with further detail at your convenience. Respectfully, John Radcliffe.
And these emails came out as well.
I mean, it seems to be, there are, going back to what we were talking about earlier on, they are beginning to make drops now. It's becoming increasingly, I mean, it's.
Piers, do you think, before we go to there, do you think that the CIA, well, this is really a question for Chris. Do you think, Chris, that the CIA is relatively clean now compared to the way it was when Trump took over the presidency? Or is it still trying to oust Trump? Because we are seeing, for example, these emails that came out, or the emails had already come out, but there were further redactions that had been unredacted a week or so ago, which again lend to this whole, Obamagate conspiracy, and actually point the finger for the first time, not just allegations, but really do directly point the finger at Barack Obama's presidency, him and Biden, saying that they were spying. They directed the spying on the Trump campaign. Does that suggest to you, Chris, do you think now that the CIA and maybe the FBI are on the side of justice, finally?
FBI, not. We have Christopher Wray in place. I can tell you that much because Christopher Wray has been a problem, and they are talking openly about removing him as director of the FBI. Gina Haspel, she's the director of the CIA, and I'm just trying to see.
So you're not sure about the FBI? What about the CIA?
The FBI, I think, has been. Gina Haspel is a white hat, as far as I'm aware. So Gina Haspel is the director of the CIA. So that would say that CIA is less of a problem than the FBI.
It's all very confusing, isn't it? But it's all very confusing.
Look, Chris,
whoa. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, because this is a short show tonight. Whoa. Hear me out. I want to keep it relatively simple tonight. I'm just after, because when Trump took over, they tried, they put Mueller on him, and there was Comey that was, and Brennan. They were all seriously slagging him off. Brennan went off and wrote that book and all that, didn't he? And, they all clearly can't stand Trump. They are deep statist personified. Have the security services improved a little bit or a lot or not much at all, in your opinion?
I think they have improved a lot. And I think part of the reason it's improved a lot is that they have.
Or he's sacked nearly everybody.
They've sacked a lot of people, and one of the really important things that they did is they moved the CIA. It now is not in the same way like its own agency. It is actually sits under the NSA. And the reason for that is that, as we know, the senior executive service were doing Obama's bidding well into the Trump presidency. Now, they're civilians. The CIA is headed by a civilian. The NSA is headed by the military. So the director of the NSA is a serving officer. the CIA was taken and put that the director of the CIA is subordinate to the director of the NSA. Which
and
effectively
who is that? Who is that in charge of the
controls
NSA? Chris, who is that in charge of the NSA? That's not Grenell.
The NSA is
It's not Grenell, is it?
Director of the National Security Agency is General Paul Nakasone.
Oh, okay. Look,
appointed on the 4th of May 2018.
I suppose where I'm trying to get to with this is, if this election is going to be disputed by the Democrats, rightly or wrongly, what support is Trump going to get? Or rather, what support is justice and the Constitution going to get from the CIA, the FBI, and ultimately from the military? Because the military have been briefing against Trump, haven't they? I try and keep this succinct, yeah? Try and keep it succinct. Don't want to load of detail in this show tonight, because we need to get back to taking the piss out of Joe Biden and his earpiece. But I do want to just know, briefly, if the military, who have been briefing, as I understand it, senior levels against this president, if they are basically going to fall in line and go with justice, as opposed to partisan, backhanders from George Soros or some old cock.
It's retired generals that are acting against Trump, not sitting generals. There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The people who've been kicked, who basically their services are no longer required, are the ones that are talking out against Trump, and they're the ones that are part of. They're the ones who've then gone and got businesses within the industrial military complex in organisations like the weapons manufacturers. Obviously, Trump not starting any new wars, trying to take us out of Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah,
this is all against
they're losing
what
business.
they want to do.
But you're saying that they're retired.
They're generals, but they're retired generals who work for.
Who still have, they got directorships, they've got links, they've got shares. Okay. What about, because Obama, as I understand it, he sacked about, tell me if I'm wrong, as I understand it, about 250 military generals whilst he was in office. A huge number in his shake-up of the military, presumably trying to make it more globalist friendly. I don't know. But are those people, they don't seem to be speaking out in favour of Trump and against this, if you like, perversion of democracy that certain factors of the deep state is trying to undertake. Why are they not speaking out?
They're not allowed to.
They're not
allowed to. They've signed. It's official secrets. They're under. Yeah. There'll be certain times and places for the proper release of highly inflammatory information. They can't just go vox popping on Twitter or X 3-star generals. They're holding national state. They're still under the oath sworn to keep secrets. They can't just go blabbing about what they really think. They've been probably told to keep their mouths shut. We're at a very critical stage in the operation now. Actually, interesting enough, your mate Jordan Maxwell, who you interviewed, that old.
Well, he's not my mate,
dude
but I did interview him. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, you interviewed him. He reckons there's going to be a massive October surprise, something so significant that the likelihood is the election won't even go ahead.
Yeah, but he always says that. He always says that.
Something.
In fairness.
He did. He was interviewed the other day, and he said, "I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be something so huge and significant that it's going to impact us globally. it's going to have a knock-on effect globally, and it could well mean that the election doesn't even take place.
The concern on that is that the terms for the president are laid down, and they have to be re-elected. They cannot just not have the election, because if they not have the election, then it goes to the House to decide who's going to be the president.
The House of Representatives.
I'm talking about some event globally that might be so significant that they literally physically can't do the election.
Well, to be blunt, America had elections in the Civil War, during the First World War, the Second World War. There's never been a suspension of elections in US history. Even in the midst of a civil war, they would still casting ballots.
That's interesting you should say that, isn't it? That I bet they weren't all voting by post during the Civil War.
No, it's worse than that. During the Civil War, there was also a pandemic outbreak, and they were still voting in person. There was an epidemic going around at the same time as the Civil War, and they still voted. So,
I'm hoping that all the Trump supporters worth their salt are going to go to the ballot box. They're going to be more difficult to fiddle with. We all know that. Voter fraud goes on in the UK. It's rampant in the UK as well.
Yeah,
I actually have something on that, because there's been two. Project Red House has actually released 2 videos on that. Ilhan Omar is directly implicated in a ballot harvesting voter fraud scheme, where they've been paying people to go and get elderly voters' ballot papers and then filling them out. And they've actually said they're not just picking them up, they're filling out the ballots.
Yeah, they're paying them like something $200 a ballot or something. It's
paying the people who are ballot harvesting $200 to $300 a ballot, and they're manually filling them out themselves.
Yeah, unbelievable.
There's definitely the police they found ballots. In New York State, people are receiving postal ballots that have military designations on them. With deliberate errors on the ballot papers, so they can be discounted when they.
They've been found in Pennsylvania. They found a bunch of military ballots which were for Trump, which had been discarded. They've got an election. They've got an investigation started by the State Attorney General of Texas into ballot harvesting and voter fraud, which turned a seat from Republican to Democrat, and they've actually got the evidence of it in Texas. And that was for an attorney seat as well. So it's big. So they've got all this stuff. This is why it's really important that Amy Coney Barrett gets confirmed, because she takes a conservative to 5-4, because John Roberts isn't. Now, the interesting thing about this is, if we have Amy Coney Barrett on there, we will have 6 who've been appointed by Republicans, 3 that have been appointed.
Can I just interject for 2 seconds? John Roberts apparently is in the flight log of Epstein. He's compromised.
I was going to get to that.
So hold on a second. Whoa. You're talking about. Let me just explain. You're talking about
the Chief Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah. Because
if he's compromised, he's the one that's been holding up the. He's been holding up the Flynn case. He's in cahoots with Sullivan. He's the one who keeps allowing Sullivan to keep the criminal case against General Flynn alive. Open. When it's dead in the water. It's being told to, he's basically compromised the Chief Supreme Court Justice.
Why would he keep that
was flying to Epstein Island for a little bit of hoo-ha with whatever.
So he might have to go.
The interesting thing,
he might have to go.
Case,
that could be an October surprise.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're kind of jumping the gun, guys.
Okay, go on, Chris. Go on. So it's all so exciting.
We've got these justices. We get rid of. So it comes out that he's involved, he has to resign, or he can actually be removed directly from the president, even though he's a Supreme Court justice. He cannot just be told you're no longer the Supreme Court justice by the president. But it's an extreme power, which is why they don't do it, because it's seen as meddling. But in this situation, if he refuses to resign, he's under investigation for such things.
They'll stick his video on Pornhub.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if they do this, they can actually say, no, you are going to be under investigation. It's a complete conflict of interest because the appeal process leads its final destination to the Supreme Court. And if you're the Chief Justice and you're going through, you effectively can make a decision impact your appeal. So that would give him justification to remove him. So you have him gone. Breyer, who is as nasty, who's as bad egg as far as the Constitution concerned as RBG was, really an extreme evolutionist on the court. They're basically just attacking the Constitution. Breyer is in bad health and is only 2 years younger than Ruth Bader Ginsburg was. Thomas, unfortunately, isn't very well, and he's 10 years younger than
Clarence Thomas.
Breyer. So, there's feasibly 3 justices that, because of their health or because of potential criminal proceedings, could be removed.
Yeah, well, it looks like, as you suggest, John Roberts will go. So Chief Justice gone. You've got Coney Barrett coming in. She's
Breyer
also
would probably,
but she's also the perfect one because she's adopted children from Haiti,
and they can use that to talk about the children that were shipped from the Haiti disaster to Epstein's Island.
Are you suggesting, though?
And Trump knows all about that because he had a personal meeting with the ex-president of Haiti prior to being elected in 2016 and was totally debriefed about what was going on.
Yeah,
and Haiti
on camera.
The Clintons.
Let me ask you a question.
You see, Ollie, this is what it's all about. It's all beginning to drip out now.
Yeah, but
they're having to lay it on to the American public and the rest of the world
Piers,
very incrementally. Otherwise, people can't digest it.
Let me just briefly interject with a question. Is this stuff going to happen? I mean, we know that Coney Barrett is now almost certainly a shoo-in for another Supreme Court judge before this election, and therefore might have something to do with deciding the result if it goes to that, if it goes to that, and there will be a conservative heavy court at that stage. But so far as Roberts is concerned, and anybody else of these old codgers that are going to pop their clogs or something from the court, the Supreme Court, is that not stuff, including Roberts, that would happen after the election? Or are you suggesting that there might be more changes to this? Go on, Chris.
The elections are given. Trump is going to win by a landslide. All these ballot rigging things are a desperation in the extreme. The fact that Trump got elected in 2016 when they rigged the election heavily then is an indication that they've got it under control. They're highlighting the fact that this is going on, which is to their advantage. They want it to be in brazenly in the public's eye, so they can also, it helps to underline the general level of corruption going on within the Democratic Party. Obviously, we're not just talking about, illegality and evil in the Democratic Party. There's a lot of Republican politicians as well that are part of this problem. It's not it's not partisan in that extreme. There
also in fairness,
bad eggs and agents, deep state agents Thomas on both sides of the fence. And Trump spent the last 4 years trying to whittle them down. But this is all beginning to surface. It's all they're delaying the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell until July next year. The reason why is because she's been singing like a canary. She's been literally giving them everything they need, and they're going to make so many arrests over the course of the next few months, and there'll be so many people. Once the list gets exposed, of everybody on the flight log, include potentially. Allegedly, including the chief Supreme Court justice, there's going to be overload, and there won't be time for Ghislaine Maxwell's trial as well. So they, at the moment they're quite happy to delay that while she's basically, giving them all the names, to save her own arse. She'll probably get clemency of some description, because she's sold everybody down the river.
Well, I mean, if she can deliver some of the really, really, really big guns, then maybe she can just do a short stint inside or something in exchange for helping to drain the swamp.
She's going to be killed anyway, so.
Well, that's another theory.
Yeah, I mean, they've got her very carefully guarded right now. She's been singing. She's giving all the names that they're gonna release the names on the list. I mean, if it's got the Chief Supreme Court Justice on there, you can imagine who else is on there. I mean, it'll show just what a network of bent and bribed and blackmailed and coerced individuals there are running the whole show, from the judiciary to the police to the military to the politicians, the whole shebang. It's one
Soros.
big,
Soros
operation.
He's been paying.
With the Clinton Foundation as one of the most. I mean, the Clintons support everybody,
and they're that now is under investigation.
It's really interesting as well.
Go on.
Sorry,
Durham
Foundation
is now
investigating the Horowitz report as being culpable and guilty of crimes against children. So that's even there, but that's been in the media, but people have kind of overlooked it. It's like flash on, disappear.
Hold on, whoa.
What
Chris,
really
Chris,
becomes interesting.
Whoa, Chris, you're saying, you're not saying, are you, that Durham, who has basically now included the Clinton Foundation as of about a week ago in his investigations, you're not saying that he has mentioned child trafficking with regards to that, no?
No, Horowitz did.
Yet.
Horowitz did.
Who's
in
Horowitz?
The Horowitz report.
Who's Horowitz? Who's Horowitz?
The IG report, the one that preceded Durham, which had Mueller, then Horowitz, and Durham.
Right.
Horowitz mentioned it. So, but it kind of got skimmed over by everyone.
Right. Okay, so that
really
can come
interesting
back.
As well.
That can come back.
Is there is a little thing on the Supreme Court.
The thing is, though,
and that is Supreme Court appointees.
Yes.
By the president. If a president, and it's a really hidden bit of legislation, but it says that if the president, a former president, is found to have committed treason or sedition, their entire presidency will be viewed through that lens. So everything they've done will be viewed as an act that they have been acting with that motive and intent throughout it.
Lots of executive orders, in other words, could be thrown out.
Which means their Supreme Court picks are deemed to be under question, which are being removed. Which means Sotomayor and Kagan, who was Obama's picks, potentially also face removal.
They could be removed.
Facing is the first time since FDR that all 9 picks will be from one president. With one
he's got 3 so far, doesn't he?
We're effectively talking about having
Roberts
an original list, 9-person court, all picked by Trump.
Okay, right.
Plus you've
now,
got,
look, the thing is, though,
you've got.
This is all. Now, Piers, question for you. This is all stuff that realistically is most of it is going to be, if it's going to come out at all, which hopefully bloody well will, it would be in Trump 2, in a second term. And therefore, it might not happen at all if the deep state, I don't know, creates a civil war. And there's a lot of people. We've got on
the Supreme Court because the decision of an election, if the election is called into question and we end up having Bush v. Gore on steroids, which is highly likely,
big time,
i.e. multiple elections being decided in the court, who makes the final decision?
Yes, now this is the question.
Which means he will have a majority. Bang, 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 bang. No, you're not including that. No, you're not including that. I don't care what your state law says. It's not valid. You're not including that. Not including that. Okay. Trump win. 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 Okay.
No. Okay. Let me ask you. Let me ask you.
Can I mention something else?
Well, Piers, before you
can I mention something else?
Oh, okay. But look, I just want to get this. I want to understand, what the procedure is here. If Biden does not concede, then because that's what an election ultimately revolves around is one side. Let me finish. No, Chris, let me finish. Chris, let me finish my question, please. If basically any election relies on honor of one side to do the decent thing and say, you know what, the truth is I didn't win, therefore I concede. If Biden doesn't do that, then is it not the case that this thing will be decided in the House of Representatives? And if the House, let me finish the question. If the House of Representatives is Democrat heavy, which it is now, for example, very slightly, but it is, then they would be able to choose whoever they like. It could be anybody. It could be Mickey Mouse, as long as it's a naturalized American citizen. It could be anybody. Is that not the case? And could that be contested in the Supreme Court? Please, Chris, clarify my...
Okay, right. The House of Representatives, for the purpose of deciding who would be the elected president, is not Democrat heavy, because it goes to one vote, one state, one vote. So all the representatives that you've got in California, one vote, and it's a majority vote. So who the majority in that state of representatives in that state is how that vote goes. So in the House of Representatives, you look at all of those states. Democrats have more representatives, but the Republicans have more states in the House of Representatives.
Yes.
Which means that actually in the House of Representatives, Republicans have the power on the vote.
I feel a lot better to hear that.
It does go.
Are you sure? You're sure about that?
So basic, that's how it is. It's not one person, one vote. It's one state, one vote.
That makes me feel a lot better. So actually, on that basis, Trump wins again.
Trump wins, Trump wins in a House vote. Trump wins if it goes to the Supreme Court. If there's
why? Out of interest, very brief aside, why is it the House of Representatives that gets to decide as opposed to the Senate?
It's because
you don't have to answer. It's a detail.
Basically, it's just
irrelevant.
It's because that's how it's laid out in the Constitution.
Right. Okay.
The Constitution says the House of Representatives makes the decision in that situation, and it has happened once before.
Oh yes. Okay. Piers, you wanted to say, but that is potentially a big relief. Yeah, that is potentially a big relief. So basically, the biggest hurdle. The biggest hurdle. Sorry, Piers. Just one very, very last point on that. So the biggest hurdle that there is to Trump term 2 is civil war.
Precisely. It's a global event.
Who has most of the guns?
Yeah, the October surprise. This is what Jordan Maxwell was talking about. This is literally the only thing left in the deep state's arsenal now, because Trump winning is a foregone conclusion if they don't do something. So there's either going to be some sort of global mass atrocity or something, or an asteroid or a comet or an electromagnetic pulse from the sun or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, they're going to have to ramp it up massively in order to avoid being completely overtaken. Basically they will be defeated if Donald Trump gets elected. So they're going to do something in October to prevent it from happening, unless that can be thwarted and they know about it. But I just wanted to mention the fact that Sidney Powell, who is the defence attorney for General Flynn, has gone on public record talking about the fact that about the child trafficking and the fact that the Wiener laptop, she was talking about some of the mails that are being seen because Wiener had that laptop with a folder called insurance on it, didn't he? And there's a huge amount of evidence on there, very damning evidence. And even she mentioned herself about the New York police that had seen the video of Hillary and Huma Abedin involved in some sort of ritual activity, very sadistic stuff that made a lot of them vomit. And so this is General Flynn's defense secretary talking about this in public. So
not just that if you actually follow the money, which is really, really useful, you can see that the budget for New York Police Department for medical services, specifically mental health services, has skyrocketed.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, so that anybody that's seen this stuff has been so horrified, they've literally been traumatized by it. I mean,
I heard.
Look, this is Vice Cops dealing with.
Have you any wonder why they don't want General Flynn? That's why the Sidney Powell's, the judge that's basically stopping Flynn from being completely exonerated. Has been told under no uncertain, so you cannot let him go because they're literally in a massive panic.
The only reason Ray hasn't been replaced is because I think they're waiting. Because I think they're waiting for a Flynn exoneration. And
well, I don't think
Flynn
what, and then they're going to make
of the FBI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the Trump won't exonerate. If Trump exonerates him, that makes it that sort of makes it look as if he's guilty.
Exoneration in court.
Yeah, he's going to have to be prejudicially just let go. To the point with prejudice means that he's been treated extremely badly, and has reason to sue. The whole Powell. I mean, I haven't actually caught any of the court case today because not only is Trump supposed to be debating Biden today, Flynn's in court and has just listened to 4 hours. In fact, he's been posting on Twitter. Really? I don't know whether there are any of those of his recent tweets, but he's been saying it's basically this just giant shit show where Sidney Powell has just been lying through his bloody teeth. It's these are all just about to break. In QAnon himself, Q said 30 and we're done in relation to the Flynn case. Now everybody thought that was 30 days initially, then 30 weeks. Now they realised it's 30 months. It's been 30 months it's taken since the beginning of his trial to get it sorted, and it looks as if there's so much exculpatory evidence now to literally there's nothing really justifying Judge Powell's keeping this case alive. It's purely politically motivated, and they know that when he's released and becomes, as Chris has just pointed out, the new head of the CIA or FBI? New head of FBI. Then all this stuff about the laptop and Huma Abedin and Hillary and it's all going to come out, and that's when the proverbial poo will really hit the fan. Trump's got everybody by the proverbial knackers at the moment, and he's just playing them. It's all part of the plan. You have to gradually, something of this magnitude happens at a glacial pace. It's very frustrating for everybody. We all want to see action and things happening, and we want progress. There is progress happening. It's just not happening at the pace we all want, which is obviously very frustrating.
I
think we've come up with enough evidence.
Oh, I've got something from Hugh that's really
just hold that.
Interesting.
Chris, hold that thought. I've got Alistair Campbell on Twitter. And Alistair Campbell's a war criminal, yeah. Tony Blair, George Bush, Manuel Athnad, all that lot that went into Iraq, killed 1-2 million people, whatever. He's always on Twitter, Always on Twitter, Alistair Campbell, telling us about how depressed he is and stuff like that. The fact is, he's a genocidal, psychotic maniac. Now, he's on here. Did anyone go to the ballot box in 2016 or 2019 thinking that if they voted for Brexit or Boris Johnson to be PM, it would be, who cares what he's writing? What shall I write? What shall I write? You are such a twat. There we go. Well, any messages? Any messages, people?
You're deranged,
Alistair Campbell. You are such a deranged twat.
But he's probably under mind control of some kind. I mean, a lot of them are. They're all kind of
control.
He gets a phone call and they give him his voice command, and then he just goes off on one.
What shall I write? Shall I write anything? I normally tell him, he's a war criminal and stuff like that. He never replies. He never blocks me either. He is such a psychopath. He has such a thick skin and lack of empathy that he doesn't care. You can say what you like. You can call him what you like, Alistair Campbell, on Twitter, and he never blinks an eye. That is how mad. That is what a mad old twat that he is. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say that as an aside. I was looking for Flynn on Twitter or something. You were saying, I don't know, somebody was. We were so excited. I mean, it is. We really are.
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting.
Last. Go on.
Yeah,
okay.
Go on, Chris. Sorry.
Okay. Now,
so exciting.
Obviously, we know the Russian collusion hoax that was being put out, all of this. Yes. Interesting things that have come out, and a bit on Q is really useful to this. Now, the primary subsource for who actually didn't even speak to, but actually by having the name is a big problem because of who he is. Mm-hmm. Primary subsource that was named in the Steele dossier is a confirmed Russian spy who was deemed a threat to national security, who the FBI were investigating. Mm. They found that they're intimating that the name was actually given to Steele by Brennan, and there's talk about a swift boat project. Swift boating is a US neological term, which is refers to when you make an untrue or baseless attack on a political opponent. So they're actually talking about how in this message chain about how they can't half-ass it. They have to really go in big and deep and properly plan the attack. Now the emails are going to the Hillary Clinton campaign. It's actually showing that there was direct collusion. There was direct Russian collusion by the Hillary Clinton campaign and by the US government to act against Trump and in the 2016 election. And this whole big campaign that they were doing was actually effectively being run by two people, Obama and Clinton, working together again, doing a knowingly false campaign, smear campaign against President Trump when he was standing. They were actually, but what that means is the American taxpayer paid for their president to be spied on illegally and the Democratic Party weaponized and the former president weaponized the intelligence agencies against the candidate in full. This breaks so many constitutional provisions, and it is a massive smoking gun to show full-blown treason and sedition conspiracy by Obama, meaning, and Clinton, but yeah, and Biden was involved in it. So you've now got.
Well, she was Secretary of State, and she was what? She was selling. What about the uranium
vice president, who's a presidential candidate, former presidential candidate, all guilty of treason and seditious conspiracy.
Because you haven't even. You haven't
We've
even
now got
mentioned the
treason,
uranium, have
sedition,
you?
conspiracy for Obama, proving which allows for his 2 Supreme Court picks to be taken off Supreme Court. Boom.
This is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You've got General Flynn being released. You've got Julian Assange going to be extradited, given clemency, and then stuck on the stand. Then he'll tell everybody who gave him the information about this Russian
Piers,
scandal.
you've got
It's
a
all
very
coming
interesting
together.
theory there. Hold on. Just as an aside, brief aside here, Julian Assange, because he deserves a shout out, it seems to me. I know some people will disagree and say that, people were lives at risk because of him, whatever. On the other hand, there's also the freedom of, information should be in the public domain kind of thing. There's two different sides to that argument. But you've got an interesting theory, Piers, that you told me the other day about Julian Assange and the reason that he has not yet been extradited to the United States. Would you please just go over that very briefly?
All right. Well, it seems to me that it's obviously a huge embarrassment to the British government because they've been heavily involved with colluding with the DNC to cook up this phony dossier. British intelligence basically under Theresa May worked with the DNC to try and cook up this fake dossier of evidence against Trump colluding with the Russians. Seth Rich, who was working for the DNC, was a DNC employee under Hillary, in the run up to the 2016 election, hacked the Clinton emails and gave them to WikiLeaks, and then was found murdered close to his home in Washington, D.C. with two bullets in the back of his head. And then
that was suicide, wasn't it? That was suicide. They reckon, or something.
Well, basically, Trump has suggested that he might give Julian Assange clemency if he reveals to the world who gave him the information. So I think it's actually the British government that are stalling Julian Assange's his extradition because they don't want this all coming out. Because if Assange ends up
Boris is a
put on the
bastard,
stand,
basically. Boris,
and then
it
says
seems to me,
Seth Rich giving me all the information. It's going to look like they colluded in the murder of a DNC employee in order to try and cover the whole thing.
and the extension of that. Boris was Foreign Secretary when everybody was spying on the
he signed
Trump
off
campaign.
on the spying.
Pfizergate. Back to Pfizergate.
So I think the likelihood is Julian Assange is going to end up slipping in the shower and banging his head, or dying of COVID, or committing suicide. There are there's quite a few stories appearing in the newspapers at the moment suggesting that he's suffering from chronic depression.
Yeah.
So they're sort of setting us up for his.
He's already done a life
would-be,
term. He has already done a life term.
Yeah. So the likelihood is, the guards will fall asleep, the cameras will be down, and he'll hang himself with a.
And that will be a classic British murder, assassination, political assassination, effectively. I tell you, I wish the best for. I wish the best for Julian Assange, but he's in a bad place now. But the British, what does that say? What does that say about? And I just one other thing, looking at the UK perspective of what's going on, something that I've been talking about a lot on social media and stuff. Seems to me, looking at, well, mind you, I was saying this months ago, but looking back, particularly now, that last Brextension that Boris shoved through Parliament, with all those, newbie MPs who wanted to basically say, oh, thank you for giving us our jobs and all that. Yeah, we'll vote for your withdrawal act. In other words, that Chequers deal. In other words, the Berlin deal that was set up between Merkel, and May in Berlin. And then let me finish, Piers. And then with no consideration of the British cabinet, and then was basically taken to Chequers, and they all went there and all that. And then Boris, and then no, and then he voted for it on the third time round. That WAB Mark III, Boris did, and a few other members of that cabinet now. And then of course now he shoved it through in January or whatever. Getting Brexit done. Yeah, well, it didn't get us out of the CU, the customs union. It didn't get us out of the single market. It didn't get us out of the jurisdiction of the ECJ. And it didn't get us out of the Fisher's policy, and it didn't get us out of the exposure that we have to the European Central Bank, etc., etc. So it was not Brexit any way, shape, or form in January. If you're a Bojo Brexiteer, wake up, finally. And basically, that was just a bloody expensive Brextension to the tune of tens of billions into January, into the 31st of December of this year. But my theory has been, and I would have thought it's pretty logical, that wait to see, kick the ball over the line when the presidential election is there, and hopefully Biden or whoever it is because then they were in their primaries, weren't they? They didn't know who was going to be running for the Democrats. Will win and take over the White House. We'll have somebody who will put us at the back of the trade queue, and as said Obama, and then it's like, I don't know, Brexit, we're not going to go down. Maybe we should have another Brextension. Wasn't that the case? Wasn't that the deal? Is it this guy, Boris Johnson, who's now got us all under soft martial law? Actually, I think it's martial law, isn't it? Pretty much. He's threatened to bring the military in. He has threatened to bring the military in to police the COVID lockdown.
No, he's going to play ball. He's going to play ball because Trump has got him by the balls. Ollie.
Yeah, but my point, my point, though, Piers, is that he didn't want to, did he? He didn't want to. He was hoping. He was hoping. He's
that doing it to save the somehow. British establishment.
But why? What, to give it to Europe? To give it to China with Huawei and all that? Come on.
No. He's gonna be forced to do full Brexit. I mean, Nigel Farage has fully briefed Trump about Brexit.
With Trump in the Oval Office, yes. But the fact is that his malfeasance, Bojo's malfeasance, he may be remembered one day for Brexit because it so happened that Brexit happened under his watch. But the fact is that he's never really been a true Brexiteer, no?
Well, that's right. This is the way history is written. I mean, he'll get all the plaudits for making it happen and all the rest of it. But ultimately, he would have been betraying his true overlords, and that will be the great irony. But I think, one of the reasons why, Trump is using all the leverage he has on the British establishment right now. I mean, he's got footage of Andrew pummeling, underage girls on Epstein's Island and footage of him in his New York mansion pummeling little girls. I mean, he could release all this stuff. If he wanted to, they've probably got footage of the Chief Supreme Court Justice doing the same stuff. He's got so much hardcore evidence that could bring down the whole of the British establishment. I mean, they're going to have to play ball. They're very reluctantly. The EU is up in arms about it
so why
Boris
doesn't
has got
Trump?
His hands tied.
Why doesn't Trump release some of that now? In order to help secure,
he doesn't because if he releases it now, it'll no longer be useful at a latter date, and you don't want to cause too much damage too quickly. You can't drop a huge truth bomb and expect people to be able to rationally deal with it. You've got some of the stuff that they've been if there's any truth in what was on Anthony Weiner's laptop and the fact that the half the New York police force are receiving psychological help now because of what they saw, that gives you a level of understanding in relation to just how deeply sick these people are and how sadistic they are. I mean, we're dealing with stuff that people are just not going to be able to get their heads around. Just if you just truth bomb them in one go, it has to be dealt with in a very regimented and incremental way. In order, so you give people little snippets, little drips. You have to drip feed them, and they go, no, surely that can't be true. Really? No. And then they look into it a little bit more, and they go, oh, well, maybe it is a bit true. Oh my goodness, maybe this is true. Then you hit them with a bit more.
I think this is where the cuties controversy is going to play into his hands, because the Obamas and Susan Rice are shareholders of Netflix.
Right.
So they're actually involved in the management of Netflix. Netflix has put cuties on.
Yeah, that pedo
thing. It has been referred to the Attorney General as whether cuties breaches decency laws, which is a code word for is this softcore kiddie porn that they've put on. And if it's ruled by the Attorney General and the court that it is, then Netflix as a company and its shareholders and its management, sorry, I'll move it back a bit, the shareholders and the management of Netflix find themselves in court for the distribution of softcore child porn. And under US law, it's an aggravated offence if the children are under 12 years old. And how old were the age? What was the age of the children that performed in Cuties?
They were 11, weren't they?
7?
Exactly.
8,
so it becomes
9?
No,
Disgusting.
11. So they said they're under 12, which makes it an aggravated offence.
Yeah,
you're right, Chris. That's all going to tie in, maybe.
And then you'd have this going through to the prosecution, and is this not the perfect juncture to release the child sex offences of Obama? Because if he's been involved in the whole Netflix thing, if you can then say, oh, and he's been abusing children, that's the perfect time to release it, because you've already got him on a child pornography charge, distribution pornography charge, haven't you? So it's the perfect time to drop his child sex offences.
Yeah, it's a good little caveat in. You're right. You can't just drop these truth bombs because people won't buy them. It's too much for people to buy. A lot of people just refuse to accept that any of this child trafficking and sort of sadistic abuse even goes on. It's too much for them to even comprehend. They just cannot wrap their heads around it. So the only way you can ever get the globe to buy into this truth is if you hit them incrementally. And that's a very good point, I think, Chris, that they may well use Netflix and Cuties as a sort of segue into it.
You know what? I'm going to call it a day because it's getting on. We've got I've got a domestic situation at home, so I have to look out for that. But also, I don't know about you, but I got to dress up for the debate. Well, I mean, the debate isn't for another couple of hours.
It's not going to happen. But Joe's Joe's going to cry wolf and bail on it.
Chris, do you think so? Come on, he's not. Can he bail now? Can he bail now?
Well, it depends. He can potentially bail on it if they manage to find someone in to be a body double.
Man, I tell you what.
Oh yeah,
exciting. I did wonder. I did wonder.
Biden.
Yeah. They could have Kamala Harris with a mask on. Yeah, you never know. I don't know.
I mean,
anyway,
old Saddam had what? How many looky likies?
Well, look at Hillary Clinton. I mean, every time she comes out, she looks different from the last time. I don't know whether that's just she keeps going to different plastic surgeon.
Maybe they can replace Joe with Hillary, and she can have one of those sort of bits,
She did have one of those fits, didn't she?
Anyway, I gotta go.
Or three.
I gotta go.
Oh, Piers. God bless you, mate. We're all going. God bless you. Boosey, thank you so much.
Love to you both.
Chris Boosey in California.
I'm sorry I had all the technical issues.
Well, it's all right. You didn't have as many as me, mate.
Boys.
Oh, yeah, you. Oh, God bless you. God bless you, Piers. Love you, mate. God bless you. Thank you. Oh,
cheers.
Wonderful. Boosey, you didn't have as many technical issues as me. Well, you did. Your fuse box went. What did you call it? A blocker? Breaker?
Oh, the circuit breaker was actually blown out by. We got a guy working on one of our bathrooms in the house, and he completely blew out the breaker.
Chris, mate, you've only been there 4 years or something. It's a fuse box.
But it's my father-in-law's house.
It's an American house.
50s.
American house. It's a breaker. Circuit breaker. Look, I want to say, God bless you, United States of America. God bless you. For goodness sake. No pressure. Just that the entire world is counting on you, basically, to, because otherwise we're all buggered and we're all going to end up, I'm going to be in the gulag. Do you know what I mean? Chris, we're all going to be in the gulag. So for God's sake, we're counting on you. Yes.
They've got to get past my gunfire first.
Yeah. Oh, your armory. People have been commenting. Decker has been commenting on your armory. I told him you were a vicar.
It's just a green screen.
Is that just your green screen? Oh, mate. Now I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought you were in the Biden basement. Yeah, definitely. So, look, folks, okay, this was a one-off. Billy Bonus, Daily Chaos. There isn't actually a regular show at the moment. I'm sorry. There will be more frequent Billy Bonuses on the way. And guess what? With these debates, we're going to have a few of these. Chris, oh, man. Oh, look. Oh, wow. Don't tease me, bro. Yeah. Hold on. Oh, that's it. Right. Okay. God bless you lot. Catch you soon. Do us a favour, because we're all, I don't know, going to get kicked off Facebook or something like that, because they're just such a bunch of, tossers, basically. And apparently they're bringing in this new regulation on the 1st of October that you have, if you want to stay on Facebook, you have to get a haircut a lookalike haircut to Mark Zuckerberg's. Yeah. So unless you want to do that, we might all end up having to leave Facebook, unless you want to look like, Data from Star Trek, very, very shortly. So the best thing to do is to go to dailychaos.news and register. I know I'm not doing that much with it yet, but I will be. I'm working on something. Believe you me, trust me. Please sign up there, because then when we do, if we get kicked off, whatever, we can stay in touch. And that's it. Hasta la whatnot. Ciao. La vista. Baby. Yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. That's it. Oh yeah. Here's to us. And bugger. Ballots. Yeah. But yeah, I was going to say Biden, but then I thought, well,